Much of Arizona is a desert. It's landlocked by some of the driest areas in the United States, and it's notorious for its scorching summer heat. And when it comes to Arizona's water, this is what you hear.
The city of Scottsdale is making water cuts in an effort.
The city of Phoenix is proposing an increase in water service rates for the upcoming year.
And hurt Arizona the most because about 36% of Arizona's
past
water
monsoon
supply
was the driest on record, and records go all the way back to 1895.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Tabitha Bland.
And I'm Sydney Whitty. The stories you'll see tonight won't look or sound like the clips you just saw. Instead, we'll take you to some of Arizona's most popular waterways, where millions of residents and tourists dive into all sorts of water activities, creating not only wet hair, but huge economic benefits for the state.
In fact, one report from Audubon, Arizona shows that outdoor water activities create $13 billion for the state's economy.
And get this, it ranks above golf for total economic output to the state.
One place where that impact is seen each year is right here at Tempe Town Lake, where the boats and paddleboards sometimes beat out Mill Avenue on the list of things to do downtown.
It's true, on any given day, you'll see swan boats, dragon boats, and even outrigger canoes out here.
And while the Hawaiian sport of outrigger canoeing traditionally requires an ocean, I recently found out that this lake is a popular spot for people missing the feel of island life. A strong pull, right on the cue of their call. Hundreds of miles from the ocean, this boat courses through the waters of Tempe, Arizona.
Nobody wants to leave home. They leave because they have to.
Ryan U. Darby is from Maui, and like many other Hawaiians, traded the salt water for the desert.
There are a lot more Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, coming to North America, specifically the Southwest, because of cost of living in Hawaii.
But they didn't leave the island life behind completely. They brought their paddles to fresh water.
It's a narrow canoe, and they typically seat 6 people, and it was made that way for long journeys because that's how our kupuna, our ancestors, discovered different islands.
Usually the teams head out here in the evening, but as you can see, the sun is actually rising right now. And what time is it? 7:20. 7:20 in the morning. They're out practicing, getting ready for their next race. But there are some things they must do before hitting the water.
So before we do anything, we always, lead with prayer, honor the earth and honor Creator and all of our people with our prayers.
The water is certainly not filled with crashing ocean waves.
Well, the water is man-made, we know that, and then it separates these 2 sacred mountains, and then we have all these buildings right behind us. The water's not as deep, you can't see the bottom.
And even though it's not Hawaiian land, they are careful to acknowledge their gratitude of the native Southwestern people and their land.
Being on the waters, we honor the Native American people, so the Gila River people, the Akama O'odham people, and then the people of Peeposh, and then thinking about all of the native people in this land. Without them, we wouldn't be able to paddle like this.
So 2 days a week, members of the outrigger canoeing group Naleo Okekai meet, keeping their boats and traditions afloat.
The main reason I ended up joining Naleo Okekai is not for paddling. I realized the biggest thing I missed was my people.
There are times that a sense of community must be created.
Naleo on 3. 1, 2, 3.
In this case, in a canoe.
Well, are they always practicing out here?
No, actually, they practice on the Colorado River and Lake Powell. In fact, the sport has grown so rapidly. It's grown not just here in Arizona, but also in California and Nevada. And let me tell you, it is a great workout.
Well, I'm more of a kick back and relax kind of boater, and I enjoy sailing. And a matter of fact, there's so many people out here that help the community learn how to navigate the waters.
When I grew up, I kind of want to sail because I feel like then I could dive off the ship and things like that.
Control.
patience, and a capsize drill. All skills Arizona Sailing Foundation students like 10-year-old Lucas Cox learn in their beginning sailing course.
Kind of how to control the boat and get it back to dock so that you don't kind of get stranded in the middle of the lake.
The Cox family's love for sailing is generational, as Lucas learns to sail where his dad did nearly 2 decades ago.
It's pretty amazing because I learned on this lake about 20 years ago, and we do have sailing around here in Arizona up at Lake Pleasant and the lakes around the area. And so we've done a little bit of sailing and done a little bit of sailing and traveling, and now he's going to be able to be really helpful on the boat.
Connecting and teaching the community through the art of sailing. That's exactly what the Arizona Sailing Foundation and their volunteers are passionate about.
Just keep doing what you're doing. You're moving. You're having fun. Don't crash.
On this day, the 8 future sailors got a taste of an ancient way to travel.
This is back to basics of how people have traveled for thousands of years. You know, make a boat, put a sail on it, and see where it pushes you. That's the most basic element. This is real life. They learn what it feels like to manipulate the boat and make the boat work, how to coordinate the sail with the rudder.
Lessons start on land to prepare the students for the unpredictable tides ahead.
A large portion of the day was spent just getting familiar with the terms, what the main sheet is versus the main sail versus the jib sail versus the tiller.
Once on the water, adult students can't get enough.
It was just kind of nice to get in there and feel the resistance of the water against the tiller, and every once in a while a little breeze would blow through and you'd feel the boat start to move, and that was kind of a rush, if you will, to feel the boat sort of pick up for a second.
While some youth students were hesitant, they learned that confidence is key.
In a boat by themselves and controlling it, and it really just gives them the confidence to, say that they can do this.
And at the end of the day, it's all about having a good time on the water.
Because it's just kind of pure form where the boat just comes alive.
The Arizona Sailing Foundation has offered sailing lessons for over 5 decades and will continue showing the next generation of mariners how to sail in the waters of the desert.
So Tabitha and I got to enjoy 2 of the many water activities seen out here on the lake, but since the first boats launched back in 1999, Tempe Town Lake has seen a huge economic impact on and offshore.
That's right, it cost more than $45 million to build this 2-mile-long lake. Now joining us now is Chris Baxter-Ging, who's been working with the lake since it first started.
Good evening, how are you today?
Good evening, thank you so much for joining us, and how are you?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Now, I wanted to ask you, you've been working here since it started. What was the lake originally intended to be?
Well, the lake had 3 purposes. The first was flood control. Back in the day, you could not build anything around this 7-mile shoreline that was here. Another one was recreation, which we all love, watching the wildlife, watching the boats, enjoying walking and biking around the shore. And the last was economic development, which would help pay for the lake.
Exactly, and talking about economic impact, could you explain what that has done for Arizona?
Oh my goodness, Town Lake is one of the top visited spots in Arizona. We have millions of visitors a year who come here for all the different things, whether it's Oktoberfest or the boat parade for the holidays or Ironman Arizona, or just to come walk around or get in a pedal boat. But we have more than 40,000 people who work around here and several thousand people who live on its shores. There's about a $5 billion economic impact that this lake has had for our community as well as the state of Arizona.
Definitely, with all those people coming in, money, obviously, would you say that the lake has paid itself off?
Oh, absolutely, many times over. Especially when you look at the kinds of jobs we have. People have wonderful careers here. Places like State Farm, Carvana, Amazon. There are amazing places to work. Even Hawaiian Airlines has a place on Town Lake.
And then what would you say is one of the most profitable aspects out of those options?
Well, anytime you build a building, somebody is investing millions of dollars in our community just in the construction of the project. But truly the jobs that come with, the opportunities for people to live a really wonderful lifestyle, that is so important to our community. It's more than just the money, it's the opportunities for people.
Definitely. And speaking of opportunities, you know, this is something that's really a big deal. We have a future here at Tempe Town Lake.
Yes, we
and
do.
I know that it's a very exciting one, as we were talking about a little bit about the South Pier. Can you tell me kind of what that exciting future is looking like?
Well, South Pier is taking, you know, one of the last large portions of land on Town Lake and creating a $2 billion economic beautiful development for us. It will potentially offer a pedestrian bridge on the east side of the lake. There may be a Ferris wheel at some point, but there will also be places to live, places to work, places for people to have a great dinner, retail, and beautiful park space that's planned.
And then above that also, what is the Rio Salado master plan? I've heard a little bit about it, but not sure exactly what that will entail.
So the Rio Salado master plan is the City of Tempe's opportunity to really take a look at everything that surrounds the lake, the park spaces in this area, and find ways for people to enjoy it in so many different ways. Whether it's going to be a zip line that you can, you know, sail down, or a place where you can just sit and watch birds and relax, read a book. We have a plan for all the different sections of the park around the lake, and you can look at it at tempe.gov/Rio Salado Master Plan. And also anything you ever wanted to know about Town Lake would be at tempe.gov/lake.
So coming out to the desert, you know, the last thing you really expect to see is a huge body of water. And with big bodies of water comes evaporation. This is a man-made lake. How does that work with evaporation?
You know, it's not quite what you would think. This lake loses about 2 golf courses worth of water a year, or 1 alfalfa field. We do our best to ensure that this lake is very ecologically sustainable. And part of that is ensuring that we keep as much water in as possible and go from there. We treat it, it's beloved. We know water is a precious resource.
Of course, and then with the water also comes fish. Could you explain a little bit about how the fish are inside the lake as well?
Absolutely. Town Lake has 13 different varieties of fish, and it ranges from Israeli carp to, believe it or not, goldfish. Those goldfish take care of eating all the little mosquitoes and bugs in the lake and make a much better experience for everyone. But every year in November, starting in November, we start adding trout. So there are beautiful rainbow trout. If you're a sports person and you want to, come out with your pole, you have a great opportunity to catch some really delicious fish.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us out here today and for sharing all of that wonderful information about the future of Tempe Town Lake.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. And after the break, Tabitha and I will be grabbing our fishing poles and heading to the dock.
With 120 lakes in Arizona, it's no surprise that fishing is a popular activity across the state. We'll take a look at how hatcheries nurture Arizona's most popular aquatic species.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage.
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Welcome back. We now bring you to Lake Pleasant, where thousands visit each year to boat, jet ski, and even scuba dive.
But it wouldn't be a day here at the lake without some fishing. And while fishing is a relaxing activity for many, it is a big contributor to the economy. In 2021, anglers contributed $2.3 billion to the Arizona economy. The fishing community, estimated at over 1 million people, also supported more than 16,000 jobs.
With all hooks in the water, lake fishing stocks would likely run dry of the 36 types of native Arizona fish without a little help.
Our Roxanne De La Rosa tagged along with Arizona Game and Fish as they worked to restock the supply across the state.
Every year, Dan Esch follows his passion.
I'm an avid fisherman. I don't get tired of it. I do it all day and I don't get tired of it.
Esch makes the long drive from Pennsylvania to Arizona. At Goldwater Lake, he spends hours fishing.
I usually come out around September and stay till May.
Other locals who love fishing come to this lake for the same reason.
I've been fishing since I was a toddler. I went with my dad and we fished the streams and the lakes.
Page Springs Hatchery is part of the Arizona Game and Fish Department. It breeds rainbow trout, brown trout, and occasionally Gila trout, producing about 750,000 fish per year.
From there, we grow them for about 12 months, 12 to 15 months, depending on how big we need them. When they're about 10 inches, we'll harvest the raceways and bring them out and stock them into well over 100 bodies of water throughout Arizona.
When the fish are ready, they release them into Arizona's lakes, ponds, and streams. Goldwater Lake is one of them. Esch is waiting for the truckload of fish to arrive.
Arizona is the place to be.
Page Springs Hatchery is the largest state-run hatchery and produces nearly 57% of the stock trout, contributing over $185 million to the overall Arizona economy.
By me putting fish in lakes, I allow other people to also enjoy fishing. So it's something I'm passionate about.
Many springs make up the hatchery's water source and produce approximately 8.5 million gallons of water per day at a constant 68 degrees Fahrenheit.
During the summer when it's hot in Phoenix, we'll avoid all that southern area and we'll do a lot of stocking up on the rim. So we'll stock the Prescott Waters, Flagstaff, Payson, and all the lakes up on the rim.
The warmer temperature allows for faster growth of fingerlings, but it isn't conducive to hatching trout eggs. Trout eggs are ideally hatched in water temperatures between 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
And then in the wintertime, when those bodies of water down in Phoenix cool off, we'll stock a lot of Phoenix, Yuma, Parker Canyon, Patagonia, Tucson, those areas.
Because of the warmer water temperature, Page Springs is a grow-out station that receives fingerling trout from other state hatcheries to grow out at the facility. Esch says he loves Pennsylvania, but he prefers to spend this time of the year at this lake because he is a country boy at heart.
Arizona stocks the trout with nice, healthy trout. They're fun to catch. They're a great fighting fish. And they're good eating fish. They're just a lot of fun to catch.
In Prescott, Roxanne De La Rosa, Cronkite News.
Water recreation sports are a great way to spend the day, but it's not always a possibility for everyone.
Hunter 4 introduces us to an organization that helps differently abled people get out on the water and have some fun.
I have been honored to do adaptive water sports in Arizona for about 27 years now. As a recreation therapist, what we want to do is we want to break barriers and allow, that just whatever it takes to get people back to play again, because play and recreation are such an important part of a person's life. And out here, you leave the concrete and the asphalt behind, and you get to have fun with your family, and you get some adventure, and something that, you come in here, maybe you're a little nervous, you don't know how it's gonna work, and you leave here and you're like, woo, guess what I just did? I went water skiing, I went wake surfing. It opens up doors that you didn't think were possible.
I've been doing this since I was in 6th or 7th grade, so about 4 or 5 years, and I absolutely love it. It just lights their faces up, and anytime you're doing something with one of them, their face, their smile is just from here to here the whole entire day. It is an amazing thing to see.
What I've heard a lot of the athletes from today talk about is that it's just so nice to chill. It's so nice to leave the city. It's so nice to do stuff that they can't do unless they're out here with us. So it's just really fun for everybody to try something new and have access. That's the biggest thing, having access to go do something new.
I am officially called the equipment manager. We started in 1996. I love to see other people who may not have the opportunity to do this get a chance. It's just like a way I can help others to enjoy life a little different.
I really like seeing the kids have a bunch of fun and getting exposed to things that normally kids wouldn't be exposed to.
20% of a person's overall health happens in the doctor's office, and then the other 80% is access to do life, and that's where we come in.
You get to come out to have a day on the lake and everyone is just your best friend and everyone's just amazing to you and so happy. It's just like a really good service, and like, why not? Why not take some time out of your day to make some other people's day 10 times to 100 times better?
It's really encouraging people to leave the city and go to other parts of the state and enjoy, which they typically wouldn't do unless we were there. We provide access to do life, like fun stuff, as it should be. Life should be fun.
Well, Sydney, I don't know about you, but I'm perfectly fine with staying up here above the water.
So am I, and we're gonna introduce you to a group of people who take swimming seriously. They're so serious about it that they swim huge distances. We're talking nearly 20 miles. Meet these endurance swimmers next.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome to the State Press, ASU's student-run news organization that covers everything ASU. As one of the longest-standing student-run newsrooms in the country, the State Press offers a glimpse into a real newsroom environment. The State Press has been cited by organizations such as CNN, The Washington Post, MSNBC, and many more. Students gain valuable experience in reporting, editing, photography, and even podcasting. The State Press is home to some of ASU's hardest working and most dedicated students, so feel free to join.
When you think of the sport of swimming, you probably think of Olympic pools and gold medals, but some swimmers prefer to take their talents to the open waters. I recently got to speak with some of these athletes and see them in action here at Saguaro Lake. Before the dock even opens at Saguaro Lake, a dozen or so swimmers start their weekend in sandals and wetsuits well before the crack of dawn.
That's it. A lot of races, they start really early. You have to get used to, knowing that you're going out there and it's a little bit dark.
Most of these swimmers train 4 days a week in a pool, but the murky lake water is a different challenge from their typical workout.
How deep is the water? What's touching me? Ooh, this is really gross, because you have to step into like things that your feet sink into and it's kind of slimy.
And once swimmers push off,
they say just keep swimming.
Sometimes for 2 to 3 miles.
I love the surroundings. I love we come out here early and I love the sunrises.
I love being out in the middle of the lake, just feeling just free. You just feel so good to be swimming.
While a wetsuit is needed for most, the chilling 50-degree lake is perfect for long-distance swimming. Open water swimming may seem mindless, but stroke by stroke, kick by kick, and mile by mile, swimmers are perfecting their technique.
I'm constantly thinking about, is my hand in the right position? Am I coming over the top? Is my feet? Am I kicking? Am I kicking too much? Because you got to save your legs for bike and runs.
Saguaro Lake is a popular place to train because swimmers can use the string of buoys as checkpoints to practice swimming straight.
I've known people to get in the water on race day and have never used their wetsuit, have never swam in open water, and they just freeze because it's just such a different feeling than swimming in the pool.
2 hours and a few miles later, they're leaving the lake behind until next week. Arizona is home to one of the most popular open water swim events, the Scar Swim, which starts here at Saguaro Lake and takes swimmers across 4 lakes for a total of 40 miles of swimming. Here in the cold waters of Saguaro Lake, I'm Danny Stepanovich, Cronkite News.
Well, just watching that made me tired. You know, sometimes in the valley we forget about the other ways that water affects Arizona. It's not always just the Colorado River levels or record drought.
And as we now know, Arizona's waterways provides thousands of jobs and contributes billions of dollars into the state's economy and provides beautiful landscape like this for everyone to enjoy.
That's it for this special edition of Cronkite News. I'm Tabitha Bland.
And I'm Sydney Whitty. Thanks for joining us.